Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure for the first time to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Rogers.
You're here.
Keep you hanging.
Right, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? I'm not. Bag on funny colours.
You'll be fine. You'll be wonderful. Did you make him into No, he's fine.
Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this special occasion, the marriage of my daughter Naomi to Matt. Susie and I first got an inkling that Naomi was seeing someone when we noticed that she was being followed home from school by a boy. Nothing odd in that, except that he would walk on the other side of the street and they would shout at each other across the road as they walked down. Naomi said this chap was called Matt, and don't worry, he would introduce himself to us at her 15th birthday party. It's Naomi's birthday. The party starts. No Matt. Naomi's a little bit upset. The evening carries on. Still no Matt. Naomi is now really quite upset. The party carried on, and a bit later there was a commotion outside. Matt had arrived. I went out to meet this enigmatic young man. April and Roy, I would like to say that he walked up to me, shook me firmly by the hand and looked at me straight in the eye, said, "Hello, Mr. Summers. My name's Matt and I love your daughter." What I heard was, "I love you, mate," before he gently collapsed to the floor. And I guess because of what is happening today, Naomi has forgiven him. Matt has proved, since his slightly inauspicious start, to be a very loyal and constant partner to Naomi and a loving dad to little Artie B, and has seamlessly fitted into our extended families. So well done or good luck, whichever you want. I'm sure that in the forthcoming Best Man speech, Matt will be suitably reminded of other past crimes and misdemeanours. But as father of the bride, I must warn you of what you're letting yourself in for. Naomi. My pudding, my little noodle. Where do I start? Naomi was always a happy little girl, content to fulfill all gender stereotypes, to be adored by her sisters and irritated by her brother, and generally not cause a fuss. Well, that was to start with. Let's go back. Naomi is about 4. We've just moved into the vicarage in Clibbury. I remember arriving back from work to find Susie in the kitchen arranging some flowers. Naomi is on her hands and knees under the kitchen table lapping milk from a bowl. Susie looked at me, shrugged and said, "Naomi's being a cat." This while lasted for at least a week, with Naomi regularly scampering around on all fours and eating her tea from under the kitchen table. Naomi is also quite good at doing outrage. She loved her Barbie doll. She had everything. She had the car, I think she even had the caravan. And she was absolutely ecstatic when Ken arrived. But one evening, she decided to give Ken a bath. And the normally beautifully coiffured Ken came out of the bath with his hair sticking out everywhere, looking a bit like an Australian surfer. Naomi, I remember the look in Naomi's eyes as she thrust the offending article into my face and said, "Dad, look at Ken's hair!" She was absolutely horrified. I don't know what Barbie felt, but Ken probably just sloped off for a joint. Most things in Naomi's life have been seized with great dedication and enthusiasm. Take her music. Naomi was very musical as a young girl, and would practice the recorder with great vigour. Loudly, endlessly, and preferably where there were lots and lots of people. So Susie and I heaved a massive sigh of relief when Naomi announced that she was giving up the recorder before she pulled out a big, shiny trumpet. I spent a lot of time trying to convince Naomi and Josh that the early TV series of Star Trek was actually live and being beamed in from outer space. My enthusiasm for the adventures of Spock and Kirk weren't really accepted, and I would invariably fall asleep in front of the telly, only to wake up with a pencil or a rubber stuck up my nose and 2 giggling children hiding behind the sofa. Thank God that smartphones and Snapchat didn't exist then. There may be a few of you here who will recognise that Naomi has an extraordinary memory for characters and songs and things in films. She and I share a love of Sid the Sloth from Ice Age and his pine cone. Who hasn't sung Let It Go from Frozen? If you've ever seen Naomi do it, she is Elsa. But then again, she is Olaf, Anna, and every other character in the film. And I know, Matt, that we have tried to convince you of the merits of the wonderful film The Princess Bride, to no avail. So all I can say is that you are Wesley to Naomi's Buttercup. Appreciate the joke there. However, all of this pales into absolute insignificance when we talk of another of Naomi's passions. Anyone? Harry Potter. Put round glasses on you, Matt. You even look a bit like Daniel Radcliffe. And you've got the scar. It's in the wrong place, but a good attempt, I think. Naomi has been a fan since she read the first book. She's memorised everything, all the spells, all the minutiae, everything. This avid reading became listening and watching as the franchise grew. It's quite extraordinary to see someone reading The Philosopher's Stone while listening to Stephen Fry recanting The Prisoner of Azkaban and Naomi having a blazing row with Josh about the Goblet of Fire. Naomi can do this, so watch out, Matt. I could go on, and I can't help but be amazed by my daughter. She's taken on motherhood at full throttle. She's running a business, and at the same time keeping her granny and grandpa on their toes by regularly visiting and playing bridge. It's just staggering, but with Naomi, what you see is what you get. Passionate, funny, organised, loyal, and most of all, loving. So finally, Matt, I welcome you to our families. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to raise a glass to Matt, Naomi, little Arthur, the Rogers family. Your turn, I think.
Perfect, mine goes. Is there a recorder down there?
There is.
No.
Just put it in front of you there.
Okay, Tudor. Firstly, thank you for your kind words, although I think I might edit this out and say mostly kind words from that. We really appreciate it. And then I need to say, family and friends, on behalf of my beautiful wife and I, that's when you'll cheer. We would like to start by thanking you all for being here with us today to help us celebrate our wedding. It really means a lot to us. There's lots of planning that goes into arranging a wedding, and at times it can be difficult, time-consuming and stressful. But we were recently taught a valuable lesson about what's really important on this day, which is that Naomi and I actually get married. As you may know, and my now wife reminds me often, I like to take my time, or as she calls it, faff around a bit. In most cases this is fine, but there was one incident recently in the build-up to the wedding where I really shouldn't have faffed around. In my slight naivety, I forgot to arrange our wedding banns to be read at our local church, with just 2 weeks to go. With no wedding licence, this day was very close to being just an elaborate and very expensive wedding rehearsal, with the invites going out in about 8 weeks' time to welcome you all back for the real thing. However, I'm very happy to say that this wasn't the case, and luckily we were able to get married today. And I have to note, the actual wedding licence came about 30 minutes before the wedding, so that was kind of close. So yes, that was lucky for both the future health of my marriage as well as the health of Tudor's wallet. We have a few toasts to propose over the next few minutes, so please keep your glasses topped up and ready to go. I really didn't know where to start with this speech, to be honest, so I spent a lot of time on my phone and laptop. Faffing. He's cut me off there already, but yeah, you've got it. The next part is, I was faffing, basically. So Naomi said to me, Matt, stop playing on Facebook. You've got 2 days left to finish your speech. Naomi said to me, look up a traditional speech template, stick with that, and just make sure you thank everyone you're supposed to. And for those of you who know me from when I was young, you'll know that I didn't really like to do what I was told. And those of you that know me well now still know that that hasn't changed much at all. So, therefore, I scrapped the traditional wedding speech template, and I decided that this speech needed some sort of theme or anchor to really bring it all together. I thought of all the people that would be here today, and all the ways you've supported Naomi and I over the years, and most importantly, the lessons that you have taught us so far in our lives. And I don't mean the boring classroom lessons, I'm talking about the lessons that we unknowingly learn throughout our lives that have shaped us to become the people we are today. So if you've got any complaints about the people we are, you'll soon learn who are the people to blame. Firstly, I'd like to thank our parents, starting with Tudor. Your support in making this wedding happen is greatly appreciated, and we really couldn't have made today happen if it wasn't for you, so thank you, Tudor. I remember some of the first conversations I had with Tudor, and obviously it's not the conversations he was talking about because I don't remember those conversations. But the ones I remember were long conversations about cars. Vintage cars, classic cars, long detailed conversations about cars. Tudor soon learnt that this conversation was rather one-sided, and that unfortunately for him I didn't actually know the first thing about cars, which in this family is quite a big deal. Nevertheless, Tudor welcomed me and made me feel at ease around the family, and he's also involved me in lots of things that the family have done. Most recently, he invited me to take part in the London Triathlon with him. I thought, wow, this will be easy. At the time, a young 24-year-old taking on someone who's a little over twice his age, no problem. I thought it would be more of a question of how many times I'd lap him. It was safe to say I was definitely taught a lesson on that day. He showed me that no matter what people think, if you put in the hard work and put the training in, it's amazing what you can achieve. A lesson I wish you'd have taught me a few months before the race. So, also thank you so much to the mother of the bride, Susie. You look amazing today. Your constant support in the wedding planning has been so important. I know you've taught us so many important lessons, and Naomi has picked up a lot of her loving and endearing traits from you. Not least, your warm, welcoming and lovely personality to all your close family and friends. Between Naomi and you, I really don't think I know two people more who wear their heart on their sleeves than you both do. A lovely trait that isn't without its challenges. I know the women in your family are prone to shedding a tear or two in an emotional situation, but when it results in Naomi crying her eyes out at the airport because she thinks her suitcase is going to be lonely in the hold luggage, you quickly learn to take precautions and always have some tissues on hand. So those of you Also, thank you to my parents, Roy and April. You've been so supportive to both Naomi and I with the wedding, but for everything else you've done for us so far. As a family growing up, we were never really blessed with tons of money, expensive holidays, or the latest games. But that said, as a child, I can honestly say that I never felt like I've been without or in any way felt like I've missed out. I think that's testimony to how loving and supportive my parents have been. They're the sort of people that if they have anything to give, their first thoughts are to give it to their children. They have taught us that in life, it's not what you have that's important, but it's the people that you have around you. So I'd like to raise a toast to all 4 parents and the unbelievable support they've given us. So, cheers. Okay, what have we got next then? I also want to make a special thank you to all the grandparents. Unfortunately, both my granny and nanny passed away when I was young, and more recently my granddad. I would have loved them to be here today to celebrate with us, but we're thinking of them. And then, Naomi's grandparents, Kay, Bill and Susan. You have been so supportive to us with the wedding planning. They've always been there to offer some wise words of advice. Again, all 3 of you have been some of life's best teachers. I know I've learnt from you how important it is to live life to the full and enjoy every single day. And Susan and Bill, you have also taught us the very practical and very entertaining skills of bridge and croquet. Not only have you been thorough teachers in both these games, you've also taught us the importance of losing graciously. And with the way you both play, it's a skill we have plenty of chance to practice. Of course, I need to say thank you to and how beautiful the bridesmaids look today. Thank you to Lyd, Jemima, Libby, and of course the lovely flower girls, Poppy, India, Matilda and Amelie, who look amazing today. So well done, girls. I'm sure that Ben and Jamie are looking forward to the day when they have to fund your weddings as well. Lyd, I know you did. Lyd, I know you did a brilliant job on Nay's Hen-Do, and you've helped so much with the wedding planning. So can we all raise a toast to all the bridesmaids, please? Cheers.
Cheers to the bridesmaids.
And now, thank you also to the ushers and best men, Dan, Josh, Jason and Josh. You've organised a brilliant stag do where somehow everyone managed to make it back alive, although Josh Summers did bring back a rather obscure disease from Estonia. Glad you're okay now, Josh. When I chose my 2 best men, I knew I really had a couple of friends that could be there for me and really help. They could be reliable and be there for us when we really needed them. And it was around that time Jason decided to move to Dubai. So thank you, Jason. Anyway, all jokes aside, you've both done a great job and have really helped us with all the preparations. And thank you for flying over from Dubai, Jason. I really appreciate that. Yeah. I'm thanking the 2 best men, but behind these 2 best men, there's definitely been 2 pretty amazing women that have certainly done their part. So thank you to Jade and Ellie. There we go. For keeping these 2 in line. The next thank you I have is a thank you that won't be understood by the recipient. This goes to Arthur, our awesome 6-month-old boy who has completely changed our lives. In his short life, he has already taught us so many valuable lessons. Mainly lessons around patience, perseverance, and definitely always have a full tin of coffee in the kitchen. Of course, these are lessons that all parents have to learn, so he's also provided us with a sense of sympathy for both our parents, as I know neither of us were particularly easy to deal with when we were young. I've already told everyone to lie to Arthur and tell him that we were absolute angels as children, so please go along with the lie. I also need to remember at this point to thank Roger for allowing us to use this field. It's made a brilliant setting for the reception, so thank you, Roger. And now, to the most important person today, my beautiful bride, Naomi Rogers. You look so beautiful today, and I really feel so lucky to marry you. I think everyone knows that Naomi and I have been together a long, long time. Next year we'll actually have been together for half of our lives. However, our love story doesn't start with a movie-style love at first moment, nor me whisking her off her feet. We actually didn't speak to each other in the first year of high school together, and we didn't really get along. Nonetheless, it wasn't until our second year, in our newly formed English class, until our story really started. English has never really been my thing, and if any teachers in the room today were to read my speech, you'd probably have a heart attack at the amount of spelling mistakes. So it's safe to say I didn't really pay much attention in my English classes. However, I did start to pay attention to someone in particular. I suddenly realised I was sat next to a rather attractive girl. So a few games of footsie under the table, a kiss or two in the playground, and as they say, the rest is history. We went on to college, university, and then travelling together, and had some amazing experiences. Whether it's been swimming with sea turtles on the Great Barrier Reef, jumping off waterfalls in New Zealand, or just getting a pizza and watching Netflix, every single day is an adventure with you, and one that I never want to miss. You've always been an absolute rock to me, and I know I wouldn't have done or achieved half as much as I have if it wasn't for you. I want to list all the things that you have taught me over the years, but to be honest, I wouldn't have enough time. You have taught me so much, and I really feel like I have learnt a lot and we have grown a lot together.
Yeah.
And I feel like each day I have learnt to love you just a little bit more than the day before. I truly feel like the luckiest man in the world today, because I know some people can spend their whole lives searching for the love of their life, whereas I'll be lucky enough to spend all my life with the love of my life. Please raise a glass to my bride, Naomi Rogers. God. Okay, almost there, guys, almost there. Now, I've tried to talk for as long as possible in the effort to limit the amount of time that these next two have to talk about me. I thought the less time they have, the less stories they will say, which is probably a good thing. But I think the time has come for me to hand over to my two best men, who I'm sure will give me a warm and glowing reference.
Matt, you don't. You're screwed.
Good old Matt. No, first of all, we would just like to say how honoured we are, Matt, that you asked us to be your best men today. But I do remember back when we were younger and we were in year 6 and we were just about to start high school. I remember you said to me that the group of us would not be friends when we went to high school because of all the new people we'd meet. Unlucky, because here we are. I should have took the hint, but unlucky.
We also both wanted to say how incredible, and I think you'll all agree, Nay looks today. Matt, you're a really lucky man. You're definitely punching, that's for sure. Again, we wanted to thank how good the bridesmaids have been. To be fair, although we take all the credit as best men and ushers, it's only because we're being told what to do from the bridesmaids. So can we have a big round of applause for them as well?
We'd also like to say well done to Dan and Jace for doing an excellent job today.
I'm Jace.
Oh yeah, you are. Dan and Josh today, sorry, for doing such an excellent job today. It's tough to make me and Jace look good, but you guys nailed it. Thank you very much for that.
So we kind of got together this week and started to think, how are we going to start this speech? And we thought, right, first, Matt sets girlfriends.
Nah.
But then we kind of thought, well, no, can't go there. So we looked to, apart from Nate, another one of Matt's loves, which is sports. And we all know Matt loves his sport.
He's a trier. God loves a trier.
From rugby, volleyball, even croquet, I'm sure he'll be playing later. He does always try his hardest. Even at our annual Port Bowl, which I'm sure will be coming out again this Christmas, it's just a shame that even though he tries really hard, he still isn't very good. Something he is good at, though, is in the bar afterwards. Even though he can't handle his drink like at all, and you probably will notice tonight, he can down a pint quicker than I have seen anybody ever do. Okay, Nay's never normally that impressed with it because it always ends up with him passed out and tears, but we'll come on to that a bit later on. So don't worry, Matt, you're not free just yet.
Yeah, because it's not going to be that much later on. It's going to be now. So there are so many times we could talk about where Matt had a slight problem handling his drink. From his first night in Magaluf, ended pretty badly. I won't go into it, but you can come up to us afterwards and we'll tell you what happened. To New Year's Eve, where Matt ended up passing out at 10 o'clock and he couldn't actually move until 6 o'clock the next night. But to go back to his sport and his drinking, I just want to show you his dedication at sport and drinking. Matt has tried many times to go on a diet, but unfortunately for Matt, sticking to a diet has been a struggle. I remember when he was talking.
You know what's coming.
I remember when he was talking to me about starting a new diet, and I was really proud of him. But after one too many pints one night, Matt did come and see me the next day and confess to me. When he got home, he did in fact cook himself 3 cheese toasties and ate a whole chocolate bar. But what made it even better, Matt passed out halfway through the chocolate bar and woke up with it all melted over his body. So that is the classy man over there who is a father now.
That was before I was a father. We've also found out over the years that Matt definitely is the organiser of the group. With him being busy organising the wedding, there's been a lot of chaos between the rest of us lads, I'm not going to lie. Another thing that we do now know is that he definitely is not the chef at all. There's quite a lot of drunk cooking stories I could mention, including the toasties one. But the best one for me has got to be when we went to Newquay. We thought, like, you know, we're at Newquay, even though it was raining, we'll have a barbecue on the beach, it'll be great. So we bought some disposable barbecues, all the food. Matt decides to take over after having a couple of drinks, and well, let's just say we only had bread rolls.
Yeah, just bread rolls.
All the meat was undercooked. The disposable barbecues just obliterated. Matt decided to use the uncooked meat to feed some of the local seagulls. In the end, Matt in the middle of about 100 seagulls, I've never seen somebody put so many good boxing moves together to try and punch a seagull in my life. Luckily for all the seagulls, he was not ever within 5 metres of them, so which is absolutely fine. I'm pretty sure they were convinced. Well, I'm convinced that they were laughing at you with us. So I have got a good video, but again, I'll show people later. Safe to say, we just won't ever let Matt cook again for us. That's absolutely fine. Nay, I'm sorry to be stereotypical, but please.
That's fine.
Cool.
And just before we go any further, Matt, I got a message the other day from some people that unfortunately couldn't be here. Their message to you was, congratulations, Matt, and we hope you have a lovely day from Chardonnay, Crystal, and all the girls at Black Cherry Gentlemen's Club.
Matt, that's so nice. Got the message. Matt and Nay's story is like something out of a film, as you probably already heard. It started in year 8, and it didn't get off to as good of a start as Matt's just made out, I'll be honest with you. Okay,
No.
Josh is going to explain though.
Yeah, so as Matt did say, it was like a film, and when we were writing this, I couldn't really decide if it was a romance or a horror, to be honest. When they were youngsters, as Matt said, they used to sit next to each other in English class. Matt, being a bit younger and finding Nay extremely annoying, did not understand that this was Nay's form of flirting. So, from what we can remember, Matt decided to call her a name that I won't repeat here, called her a word, ended up having detention and having to look up what it meant.
What a wonderful start to their love story. There is something that we do need to mention. It'll be shocking to a lot of you, I know. Matt did break the bro code, and me and Josh have both decided it's about time that an apology was read. Unfortunately, Alex Lee isn't here, but Nay did have a wild 2-week fling in the early stages of high school with him. Pretty sure they even held hands, so basically it's together forever.
There might have been a kiss, we're not sure, but
we'll ask him later. But growing up with Matt and Nay, well, it was
turbulent. It was turbulent.
They did always manage to sort things out.
Eventually.
They're like the kind of couple who can have such a laugh together, usually until Matt takes it too far, as normal. I remember one time after going on a night out and stopping at Matt and Nay's house in Worcester. Actually, I'm not sure who was taking it too far at this point, but I think Nay was annoying Matt for a little bit. Matt got far too annoyed. He decided to pull Nay's pajama
Shorts
bottoms down.
right down, right in front of all of us.
Luckily, there was only 3 of us in the room. It was me, Josh, and Jade. Me and Josh were locked in a deep eye contact at this point. What was behind Josh, I did not want to know. Jade did see everything. I'll be honest. She saw everything. But you're quite good friends now, so that's okay. But it's safe to say Matt was in a lot of trouble that night. But by the morning, it was all fine and dandy, which is great. Yeah. Well, we think it was anyway.
But in all seriousness, guys, and joking aside, you two are absolutely made for each other. From starting off your relationship in school, to travelling the world together and not killing each other, to now having Arthur making your family perfect. We would like to say how happy we are for you and to wish you all the happiness in the world.
And lastly, we just want to build Matt's reputation up, because he's not as bad as we made out. Matt, this is something that we both wanted to say to you, really. You really are our best friends. You're a better friend than anyone could ask for. You're there for us all the time, even though you've got Arthur and Nay to deal with as well. We can literally talk to you about anything, and you'll be honest and help us out with anything, any way you can. We just wanted to thank you, really, for being you.
Yeah.
Can we have a toast to the groom?
And one more to the bride and groom. Yeah, we're done.
I believe.
Oh, I completely forgot.
Well done.
Useless
No, you're not.
son and now son-in-law.
You do have some gifts.
A little gift to the mother. There you go. Sorry.
How do you turn this off?
Instead, I like to slap around. So.
I have no idea. Whose is it? April. How do we turn? Oh, here you go.
Everyone enjoy the rest of that?
How do you turn that
Food will be coming soon, okay? That's done.
Thank you.
Oh, well done, sunshine.
Finished? Good?
Really good.